up, guys? Yesterday I had another session at Tomahawk Mx with Mark and Daniel. Had an awesome lesson with those guys. So definitely going to start doing a series with this. I got a good response from it, and I think you guys should be able to take a good amount of information away from this. So here's episode 2 of Private Lessons. Enjoy.
You're doing exactly what you did yesterday, which was sit, and then the last 3 feet of the takeoff, you would stand up.
Okay.
Which is exactly why you get the takeoffs that have the weird little dips and the divots at the top. It's because I think a lot of people are doing that same thing. Just if you watch the way I did it, and I even hit a kicker, but I was fine when I was sitting down.
Yeah, I saw it.
Just stand seat the whole way. Let exactly what we did over there. Let the bike naturally take your body off of it. And the turn itself, just really make sure you're re-gripping so that elbow doesn't drop. The track today, it's way more slippery than yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel it on your warm-up laps?
I could feel it. So
it just had one more day to kind of dry and bake over. When you land that jump, what I do is I land sitting down and get a hard acceleration, because if you stand up on that landing, you're really fighting against gravity trying to pull you off the back of the bike, because you're going up such a steep hill.
So you sit down as soon as you land, or you land and sit down?
So when I sit down and take off, the bike's naturally gonna pop my butt off the seat, do a standing position, and then when I land, I kind of just meet the landing with, and everything kind of comes down at once. Yeah, of course I'm going to make sure I'm downsiding it right first. I don't want to put my butt to the seat and land on a kicker or case it or overshoot it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I land, the butt meets the seat, so that way I can get good drive for that next 30 feet.
Okay.
And then I stand up, because it does start to get rough. But if you stand up right from the landing, because it is going up such a steep hill, you're just going to be fighting against that.
That's where all my energy went when I did races or anything. Was I think right here is when I noticed, like, I could fall 50 times over there and it'd be not as bad as.
So if you told me to go do a 30-minute moto right now, that uphill would be the one spot that would probably give me arm pump.
Yeah. If
I wasn't careful. Especially being on a fast 450 that just wants to yank.
Yeah, right there and going up the hill after the big one.
Yeah, same thing. It's the uphills, because when you're standing, which up that uphill, you kind of have to make sure that your standing position becomes more of a forward position. Yeah. You don't want to drive your knees and your chest forward. So this is where it gets a little funky. You have to keep the knees back and just bring your chest really far forward to compensate for that, first of all, that uphill and the power of the bike wanting to rip you off the back. Same thing as yesterday over by the finish. You're relying too much in that last 10 feet of the takeoff to get your speed. It's like you're being way too cautious and tentative here, and then once you get everything aligned, you're like, okay, all is good. Whoa, now I'm gonna go for it. Okay. So when you get to that cone, right now what you're doing is when you get to the area where that cone is, you make the decision in your head to go for it. And that's when you start getting on the throttle hard. What you need to do is commit to it back there, hit the corner with a little more speed, accelerate out with a lot more speed. Okay. And by the time you get to that cone, that's when you make the decision, okay, something didn't go right, dabbed my foot too many times in that turn, I slid out too much, I need to back off. Or, okay, everything went well, I'm gonna continue my commitment off the jump. Yeah. That's a much safer way to do it, especially when we start to work the bigger jumps like that big table. You have to commit early and just continue that commitment. If you try to just commit in that last 20 feet of takeoff, that's how you're gonna get yourself really hurt. That guy's technique is really not good, but his throttle coming out was what I want you to do. He attacked hard here, I got some wheel spin, but when he got to that cone, he had so much speed that he was just able to continue it off the jump and not rely on that last second power. That was great though. How'd that feel?
Oh, it felt awesome. I was just kind of like, holy crap, I'm gonna, because I've started out multiple times by locking the rear end up. All right. So
well, that could be caused by a couple different things. Let's let this guy pass. Let's see how he does it. He's one gear too tall, first of all. Oh god. See? Stalling the bike could be caused by 2 reasons. You brake without the clutch, which is good. Well, you should be. If you brake too deep, So if you brake right into the apex of the turn, you're probably gonna end up stalling it. Or if you just slam on the rear brake way too hard,
I think that's right.
you're probably gonna stall it. So you could be doing one or the other, or a combination of the two. Where I'm gonna set that cone up, it's gonna feel like you're getting off the rear brake way too early. But we need to get you comfortable, especially with the right-handers, where we have to get you off that rear brake and get your foot out.
Well, see,
So where I'm gonna set that cone up, if you can start braking, you know, 30 feet before it, and then you're done at that cone, you have to be off of the brakes at that point.
okay.
What people do is sometimes they come in too fast, and then they drag the rear brake and drag both brakes all the way halfway through the turn. That's why at amateur races, you see the turns form these jagged, crazy, terrible ruts. It's because people brake really quickly. First of all, we got to get angle right. A lot of people I notice come up the hill, ride this jump, and they kind of aim to the right towards the flagger tower.
Yeah.
This jump fades heavy left. So what I do is I usually take off on the far left side, and I aim to the point where I feel like I'm going off the track left. But by the time you land, there's still a ton of real estate left on that left side. It's a type of jump where it's decent size and you're coming right into a turn. So you need to make sure that you preload it, get the height so that you can actually get stopped. Because if you soak this thing up and kind of scrub it and push through, no way in heck are you making that turn. It's gonna be tough on that bike, but I think I could try it too. I'll throw my helmet on and just see what it feels like going up this hill on your bike. Third gear probably is fine for you. Third or fourth for you.
Should I downshift maybe?
If you're comfortable, and if we get you to the downside, that's gonna be our first goal. Once we get you guys to the downside, then we'll focus on what comes next. Let me try it quick on your bike.
My tire pressure feel is all sorts of screwed up, so
What? Too much or too little?
I think it's like too little.
Okay.
But I might be like overthinking it.
No, front feels okay. I mean, it feels fine.
All right,
My hands are on a tire pressure gauge that.
it's a good estimate. Do you want the Dango or no?
All right, we'll see. Obviously, I'm heavy on this bike, but if I can clear it, weighing as much as how much do you weigh?
110.
Okay, I'm 50 pounds more than you, so if I can do it on this bike, then
He's not making it. He's not making that. I'm telling that right now.
It makes it look so easy.
I know, right? She goes up, brake checks in there.
I forgot how fast super minis are. This bike's fast.
They're
So
fun.
third gear around that turn on this, I land in third and then I shift up.
Okay.
Fourth gear up the hill. You're gonna be surprised with how far left you can go on that takeoff and still have a lot of room on that landing.
Okay.
The good thing about this bike, you are not gonna overshoot that jump.
Yeah.
And this is a good jump where you can progressively work your way up to it. I think this is a good jump as we do the same for you. And once you get there, this is also a good jump for you to practice tapping that rear brake and to get comfortable with that.
Okay.
Because it's going up a hill, so by the time you get up to the top, you've lost a lot of that forward momentum. So if you do make a mistake, it's not like you're going 60 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make sure that, and this could be a skill we practice. Have we worked tapping your rear brake with you yet? Make sure you guys pull the clutch in. When you tap the rear brake, just wait until you're at the top of your jump. Don't jump and then immediately tap the rear brake, because you don't know yet at that point, first of all, where you're gonna land in the landing, and you don't know exactly how that bike's shooting. Take off, and then when you're here at the very top of your jump and you feel like you're lofting a little bit like this, hold that clutch in, tap the rear brake. The reason why you see a lot of pros do is it's just a very easy way to get the bike level for the downside. You always want to land level, which means two wheels at the same time. Level, if you're landing on top of the jump, is this. If you're downside of the jump, level is no longer here, right? Level is now here. So that's why when you take off, even if you're level, tap the rear brake when you know you're going to downside it and get lined up for that landing. That's all. Obviously, don't worry about that right away. I want you guys to work on getting the distance. I would say even on the 250F, very unlikely that you're going to overshoot that thing.
Okay.
Even if you do, When you land, don't worry about the turn yet. If you do make a mistake, if you do happen to overshoot it, if you do happen to case it and get a weird bounce, just go straight. You have a long way after this jump until you end up in the woods.
Okay.
Like a lot of runoff room. You could just jump over the backside of the berm and you're in a nice open field. Not bad, not bad. Woo. All right, so what you just did there was technically worst case scenario.
A little faster.
But it wasn't that bad. What you did is you cased it in like the worst spot you could, which again wasn't bad. And you were carving the takeoff a little bit. So when you did case it, you were a little sideways. But dude, that's great.
Okay.
Jump another 3 feet and you're to the downside.
All right, I'll do it.
Let me film you so I can get you.
Yeah!
Dude, that was awesome. Okay.
That
Now,
was really fun.
right? See, now this section will become fun because when you roll that, this section sucks. Now get to the downside exactly like that a couple more times, and then we can start trying to do that and make the turn.
Okay.
That's the hard part. Good job, dude.
Thank you.
Good job. Shift from 4th to 3rd in the air, and you're gonna notice, and I told him the same thing, he was going from 3rd to 2nd. When you land, you're gonna get a lot of that engine brake, and the bike's gonna just wanna slow down a heck of a lot faster. But don't worry about downshifting to 3rd until all goes well in the air. You know what I mean? When you get to the top of your jump, you guys know, right? When you're at the top of the jump, you have that field of view and you have that feeling of, okay, I'm gonna downside this thing, let's get this shift, let's make it happen. Or, oh crap, I'm gonna case it, I'm gonna bounce it, leave it in that taller gear so that when you land on the gas, you can pull yourself out of it.
Like, I would come up the hill and they're like half tinted, they're not like full.
Do you want mine maybe?
It's up to you. I mean, I don't know.
A little bit of tint might help you.
Yeah.
Just case it a little bit, but not a lot. Yeah, it might take some getting used to that. They look cool in that helmet.
Do they?
Yeah. You're not sponsored by 100%, are you?
No way.
Second gear does it. I mean,
You got it, you got it.